If you're planning to come to Japan and you love birds, you need to know the names of these two things. This fluff ball and this traditional Japanese confectionery. The long-tailed tit is called enaga in Japanese, and they're common birds in the wild in Japan, Asia, and Europe. But the white ones living in Hokkaido probably had to be given a different name because they are fluff as hell! Shima enaga travel in a tight-knit group of 5 to 10. They're very territorial, so they fight against other Shima enaga groups. Please imagine marshmallows having a dogfight. If you come near them during mating season, they might tackle you with their plushy 7-gram bodies and heal your long-standing anxieties. They're the second smallest bird kind in Japan, but don't take them lightly. Their occupancy of shelf space is never small. After mating season, their chicks come out of their nests, and this is when things get out of hand. Around a dozen football toddlers huddle in a single line, a single branch, waiting for their parents to bring them food. They practice flying, but soon get tired and come back into their cozy bead formation and fall asleep. Now, this traditional Japanese snack is called dango, 3 or 4 rice cake balls on a stick. Anything on a skewer looks and tastes better than they should, and this is no exception for strike. So Japanese bird watchers call this phenomenon enaga dango. You're welcome. If you're planning to come to Japan and spending time in nature, you need to be cautious of bears, yes, but also beware of flying zabutons. Zabuton is the Japanese word for these cushions you sit on in a tatami room. And in the woods at night, an animal nicknamed the flying zabuton may scare the bejesus out of you. Because look at this petrifying warning sign. This is a real sign in Karuizawa. You have been warned. The giant flying squirrel is called musasabi in Japanese, and they're found in woods everywhere in Japan except Hokkaido. When they're gliding, they're like this big. They can glide a distance about 50 meters, so for example in a parking space in the woods, they can whoosh past you and scare you. Now, musasabi is not to be confused with their smaller cousins, momonga, the dwarf flying squirrels. The difference between musasabi and momonga, aside from the fact that one sounds like the name of a ninja and the other sounds plain silly, is that a gliding musasabi is the size of a zabuton, and a gliding momonga is the size of a handkerchief. Now, these white ezomomonga in Hokkaido don't like conflicts. So whenever a stranger momonga comes into their nest by mistake, you know what happens? Nap together! They skip all the drama in between and go straight to being best friends! It's because they need the body temperature of their peers to stay warm in winter. So if you have a really good camera and you go to Hokkaido, please say hi to Momo-chan. Perhaps the most influential cat in modern-day Japan passed away in 2015, leaving a huge legacy for future feline generations to follow. You may have heard of Tama the station master because he was covered widely in foreign media several years ago. But what happened to him after his profoundly successful life? Tama was an ordinary cat kept at the kiosk in Kishi Station on Kishikawa Line in Wakayama Prefecture. His charm was soon recognized by the company that ran the railway, Wakayama Electric Railway. Tama was appointed as the official station master of Kishi Station in 2007, receiving an annual salary consisting of a 1-year supply of cat food. News media coverage was massive. The start of his career was a blast. Tama is estimated to have made an economic impact of 1.1 billion yen in 2007 alone. The number of neko-sans registered as pets went from 300,000 to 9.8 million. 9.8 million! Businesses in the pet industry, businesses making neko-san merch and neko-san photo books, local businesses, the income of locals, all shot up! The economic effect Tama bestowed upon Japan was later dubbed Nekonomics. Tama was soon promoted to Super Station Master, then Ultra Station Master, and ultimately to Acting President of Wakayama Electric Railways. He was knighted in 2008 after passing away at 16. Tama was given a corporate funeral by his company and was given the title Forever Station Master Emeritus. His legacy was followed by a myriad of animal station masters across the country. While his duties at Kishi Station was succeeded by his successor, Nitama, Tama rests peacefully in Tama Shrine, where he was enshrined as a god. There are only a few historical figures who were deified. Tokugawa Ieyasu, the first Tokugawa shogun who initiated 265 years of peace. Uesugi Yozan, who saved tens of thousands of lives from famine. And then there are few more than Neko-san! So when things are not going well for you, just remember, there is a Neko-san deity watching over you. A white finch called Bunchan works as a curator at a museum in Yatomi City, and she represents the legacy of a caring and ambitious woman from 19th century Japan. Towards the end of the age of samurai in the mid-19th century, a woman called Yae moved into a family in Yatomi City in what is now Aichi Prefecture. She brought with her a pair of gray finches she got as a farewell gift from the samurai household she was serving before. These Southeast Asian birds were rare imports back then, and the fact that she was given them suggests that she was a valued employee. During this time, goldfish breeding had become a popular side hustle for farmers in Yatomi City. But instead of following the trend, perhaps Yae was like, we're not gonna do goldfish. We're gonna do finches, because you know why? Goldfish, they ain't got no fluff. Yae succeeded in breeding dozens of finches. One day, she realized that an albino finch was born, and it was considerably weaker than the others. But as she gave love and care to the white finch and its offspring, they grew just as healthily as the gray ones after a few generations. White finches have a very Japanese color combination, and they became popular pets across the country very quickly. Hundreds of farmers followed Yae's example, and that is how Yatomi City became the city of goldfish and finches. I had a white finch when I was little. Like many household pets, they like cuddling with their owner, but they're too small to cuddle in your arms, so you know what they do? They fluff up and take a seat on your eyelids. The shape of the dent here is apparently the perfect heated nesting platform. So since Bunchan's inauguration, visitors to the museum have doubled because she lands on people's fingers and phones, and she does not discriminate between staff and visitors. I cannot go to Yatomi City because if Bunchan lands on me, that's it. I will want to have 300 finches immediately. So you go without me and be blessed with her presence. In 17th to 19th century Japan, dogs were sent out on a pilgrimage on behalf of their sick owners up to 100 kilometers away. And what's crazy is that they came frickin' back successfully! Pilgrimage to Ise Jingu Shrine was everyone's dream during the Edo period. At the peak of its popularity, the shrine was visited by like 16% of the population per year. Ise Jingu Shrine was just brilliant in PR and setting up infrastructure for pilgrimages. They had ambassadors all over the country who would provide food and shelter for travelers who came without any money. At first, it was only men who took like a month off to go to Ise, and they came back with epic stories of their journeys. So soon, women too were like, I hate making fire. This, I'm going to Ise. I kind of like sewing. It's creative, but this, I'm going to Ise. Literally, just like that, people abruptly dropped what they're doing and went to Ise. In 1705, a group of kids in Kyoto suddenly set off to Ise without telling the parents and came back safely. So sick people and old people were like, men did it, women did it, kids did it. I believe it's Shiro-chan's turn! So there's a record of a Shiro-chan who left what is now Fukushima Prefecture on behalf of its owner, and there's a Osan-chan who left Tokushima Prefecture. This dog crossed the ocean! They were tied a placard that said to Ise and their home addresses, and a rope with coins bound. Eateries and travelers on the way fed these dogs in exchange for the coins they carried. And some people even gave them coins to make sure they had enough for the trip. So some of these dogs came back with more money than they had left with. So one dog made it into this print by Utagawa Hiroshige. It's carrying a paper talisman that you can get at shrines. So this dog is on its way back! Dogs are just a miracle that happened to humankind. Japan's love for furry friends shows in the variety of animal kingdom representatives represented Shinto shrine statues. These special animals are messengers of the enshrined gods, and of course, each one has an epic backstory. The messengers of the god of Iwashimizu Hachimangu Shrine in Kyoto are Hato-san! When a god called Hachiman made an avatar of himself to send him to Iwashimizu Hachimangu Shrine to be the god there. He was kinda lost. But then, a white Hato-san appeared and said, so he got there okay! The messengers of the god of Go Shrine in Kyoto are Inoshishi-san! A noble named Wakeno Kiyomaro was exiled from Kyoto in the 8th century. The guy who exiled him was a jerk, and he sent assassins to get Kiyomaro on the way to his exile destination. But then, 300 Inoshishi-san appeared. Apparently they counted while this was happening, and the Inoshishi-sans blocked the way, so the assassins were like, whoa, what's this traffic? These boars are distractingly fluffy. So Kiyomaro was okay! The messengers of the god of Kasuga Taisha Shrine in Nara are Chika-san! When people in ancient Nara invited a god from eastern Japan to be a resident god in Nara, he came riding on a white deer. So Nara people were like, damn! Their cute presence alone is a blessing to humanity, and when they do one favor for us, bam! Divine. Japan's love for cutesy animals didn't start yesterday. Certain ancient Shinto shrines have designated certain furry friends as their divine messengers, which you might run into on your next trip to Japan. I hereby introduce 2 such furry divine messengers with monumental backstories. The messengers of the god of Otoyo Shrine in Kyoto, built in the 9th century, are Nezumi-san! The mythical god, Okuninushi, was being bullied by his would-be father-in-law, and this would-be father-in-law was like, go get the arrow I shot in the meadows, and then he set the meadow on fire. Rumor has it he didn't like his daughter's boyfriend. So Okuninushi was like, oh crap, I don't like being surrounded by fire. And then Nezumi-san came out and said, I will save your divine butt! And showed him to a little hole in the ground. So Okuninushi was like, oh thanks man, I owe you big. You know, I love how myths explain, like, no details. How big was this hole? How did he get in? Nobody asks. The messengers of the gods of Okazaki Shrine in Kyoto, built in the 8th century, are Usagi-san! In the 8th century, when the shrine was built, the neighborhood was a major Usagi-san habitat. The end. We have a bad habit of expecting profound reasons for everything. If you want a reason, here's a reason. Because they're fluff! And as if the shrine felt the need to compensate for the lack of a convincing backstory, they bombarded the shrine with Usagi-san sculptures. There are over 200 Usagi-san sculptures waving at you at this shrine. Now there's another reason. Okazaki Shrine is located to the east of where the Imperial Palace was. And in the zodiac direction system, the east is the direction of Usagi-san. But nobody knows what the actual reason was. These are just guesses of modern day people. But look at this winning shape. Do we still need a powerful reason to celebrate Usagi-san? I didn't think so. The most famous furry friend in the Shinto world is undoubtedly Kitsune-san. They're divine messengers, and you see their statues in many Shinto shrines. But why oh why was Kitsune-san chosen? First of all, why does Shintoism have furry divine messengers? From a long time ago, Japanese people made wishes to the gods of their choice. And let's be honest, our wishes can sometimes be very petty. Please give me GF. Young man, this is the god of fire. But this is the only shrine in our neighborhood. Kami-san is as busy. Let's try not to pray directly to the gods. Let's have a messenger in between. That's basically the reason furry friends became messengers. Now, the Inari Daimyojin is the god of Fushimi Inari Shrine, which has its headquarters in Kyoto, and he's the god of harvest. But even before him, in ancient Shinto belief, the god of the mountains was also the god of rice fields. He juggled 2 jobs. In spring, the mountain god came down to the villages to become the god of rice fields. And when harvest was over in autumn, he went back to the mountains. And foxes also happened to follow his schedule. They would appear near villages in spring to autumn, and in autumn and winter, they would disappear into the mountains. And that is why Kitsune-sans were thought to be the divine messengers of Inari shrines, the god of harvest. So why do we see many Inari shrines in the city where there are hardly any rice fields now? The reason dates back to the Edo period. Good morning, Gombe-san. How are you today? I'm very broke. I haven't seen you work in 2 weeks, and I smell consequence. I think my childhood trauma is preventing me from performing at my full potential. Steve Jobs was once in a slump too. I need someone to listen to my pain so that I can overcome this stage of my life, which has lasted the past 40 years, and I do feel it's kind of long. But no one wants to listen to me because I ran for several hours or something, and where did you go? Where did that guy go? It's only these shrines that might have the patience to listen to me now. Please give me... Money! Young man, this is the god of harvest. Close enough! So Inari shrines came to be repurposed as the god of business too, due to popular demand. So rest assured, Kitsune-san will listen to your petty wishes without judging. While we chew on gummy bears, or whatever snack you munch on, did you know there's a fierce battle going on under the ground in Japan? 2 species of moles, or mogura-san in Japanese, have had a cutthroat struggle for territory for thousands of years. Azuma Mogura-san of the east and Kobe Mogura-san of the west are having a severe battle over the dominance of the Japanese archipelago, and currently, the front line is underneath the Mount Fuji area. The Azuma Mogura sands came to Japan around 100,000 to 120,000 years ago. They are the size of a 7-Eleven rice ball, and they have inhabited most of the underground world of eastern Japan. But then, 20,000 years ago, the Kobe Mogura sands, the size of 2 rice balls, came into Japan. And as a result, the Azuma Mogura sands were pushed out eastward. These colossal giants of Mogura-san scale have expanded their territory eastward and established a massive presence in western Japan. So bigger is better. The Kobe Mogura-sans are gonna take over Japan, not so fast. Their advance has come to a standstill under Mount Hakone. To maintain their immense size, Mogura-san scale, the Kobe Mogura-sans require tons of worms for food. And capturing tons of worms require a lot of digging. So they get tired and sleepy. Therefore, Kobe Mogura-sans thrive only in soft soil. The hard volcanic rocks of these mountains allow no easy pass. Rumor has it, they are now on a conquest to take over the underground of Lake Suwa in Nagano Prefecture. But how do researchers know this? They go around looking for holes in the ground, and when they find one, they stick their finger in. If 3 fingers fit, that's an Azuma Mogura-san home. And if 4 fingers fit, that's a Kobe Mogura-san home. So just keep these in mind when you hike in the mountains in Japan. We may think we know what's going on in the world, but the news we get fed covers very little. This insect has a Japanese name that means thorny, thornless, thorn. I was looking into animal name etymologies and came across this total anarchy. Togeari, togenashi, togetoge is the Japanese name, and you will need to know a word of Japanese to understand the confusion the Japanese entomology world has been facing. Toge is thorn, so togetoge is thorn. Now, ari in Japanese is like with, and nashi in Japanese is like without. So togeari means with thorn, and togenashi means without thorn. So togeari, togenashi, togetoge is like thorny, thornless, thorn. What happened? Let me explain. There's an insect called hamushi, and one day a new variety of hamushi was found, and it came with thorns. It had lots of horns, so it came to be called togetoge, thorn. But then later on, a new subspecies of togetoge was found, and it came with no horns. So someone named it togenashi togetoge, thornless, thorn. And at this point, everyone's like, nature can throw you curveballs sometimes. Let's go get a drink. But then one day, a new subspecies of togenashi togetoge was found. And it came with a crazy number of horns, as if to laugh at scientists in their faces, as if to tell them, you humans wish you generational wealth. We play you generational pranks. They left scientists no choice but to name them Togeari. Togenashi. Toge, Thorny, Thor! I cannot sleep, worrying how soon humanity will come across Thornless, Thorn. This Japanese firefly is called Genji Botaru, and this firefly is called Heike Botaru, and the reason they were named that way is not nice! Genji and Heike refer to samurai families who were having beef with each other over 800 years ago. In the 12th century, Japan was practically ruled by the Heike samurai family. Their head, Taira no Kiyomori, was appointed to the top position of the government, like the Prime Minister if he were today. He was in fact a brilliant politician himself, but he started appointing his relatives to all the important positions. So the Heike family reached the level of authority where they're like, pop quiz, what's the worst thing that could happen to a Japanese person? That's right, not being born a Heike! So the other prominent samurai family, the Genji family, was like, you're asking for it. So when the charismatic head of the Heike, Taira no Kiyomori, died, the non-Heike samurai swarmed Kyoto, the headquarters of the Heike, and beat the shiitake mushroom! Beat the Shiba Inu! Beat the Shimane out of them! The Heike were pushed back all the way to Dannoura Bay, the western tip of Japan, and with nowhere to go anymore, they all jumped into the sea. The Heike were wiped out, and the Genji samurai established the first ever shogunate in 1185. So why are these fireflies called Genji Botaru? Because they're big and they glow very brightly. Then why are these fireflies called Heike Botaru? Because they're small and they glow very dimly. Not nice! Then how should they be named? No idea. You guys think about it. Are you an artist and do you love drawing dogs? Then let me introduce you to an artist from pre-modern Japan who drew dogs unsolicited in like every commissioned work. Yanagawa Shigenobu was a woodblock print artist who learned from Hokusai and actually became his son-in-law after marrying his daughter. Shigenobu is best known for the illustrations for Japan's first full-length adventure novel series, Nansou Satomi Hakkende, The Legend of the 8 Dog Warriors. The story is about 8 young warriors who have inherited the bravery and loyalty of a princess and a magical dog, uniting as a team through their journey to face a powerful evil spirit. This novel was basically the original inspiration for pretty much all Japanese manga, anime, and RPG games. Now, the title is The Legend of the 8 Dog Warriors, but there's only one real dog in the entire series, the magical dog in the prologue. But then when the publisher asked Yanagawa Shigenobu to draw the cover, he came up with this. Shigenobu-san, have you read the book? Yeah, the first 2 pages. I see 8 puppies. We would have preferred 8 warriors, but the deadline was last week, so we're gonna go with this time. But please read the book, it's the least you can do. So season 3 came out and the cover looked like this. Shigenobu-san. When I said there aren't 8 puppies in the story, I didn't mean there are more. Hokusai-san recommended you because you're a dog lover, and I did not think that would work against things. Season 4. Still haven't read the book. They're called dog warriors, yes. But they're not dogs. Season 4, Volume 4. Season 6, Volume 1. Who are these? Who are these characters? Why do they look like they have an intricate story going on between them? Season 6, Volume 6. Season 9, Volume 11. Season 9, Volume 35. You just want to draw puppies! There, I said it. You just want to draw puppies and you're getting better at it! Final volume. Why does it look so satisfied? Stop making the same face! Do not hold back your passion. For the longest time in Japan, foxes, or kitsune-san, and raccoon dogs, or tanuki-san, were believed to transform into humans to play pranks on us. Why? Like, how did that? Why? First of all, Western culture, my sincerest respect to them, because when they were struck by diseases, they went in and found the cause. They found viruses, like things that we can't even see. Meanwhile, pre-modern Japanese people, they didn't have that kind of brain. So in ancient Japan, like 1,000 years ago, they blamed everything on Oni, which in those days was a collected term for mystic evil creatures in general. My uncle's gone missing. We searched everywhere. It's the deed of the Oni. My aunt was gravely sick and she passed away. Those Oni! Finding the root cause, not a concept in ancient Japan. But there were, of course, less critical cases that couldn't be explained too. The pudding I kept in the fridge, it's gone. Those Oni! No, I think they have more violent stuff to do. Then it must have been a kitsune-san. Haven't you heard the legend of the Kyubi? The story of the nine-tailed fox, Kyubi, came from China into Japan around 900 years ago. It was about an immortal fox that transformed into beautiful ladies to seduce the kings of this kingdom and that kingdom, to thinking about just her, to a point that they brought their kingdoms to ruin. For what? For sport! And in writing, Kyubi is written like this. Kyubi kori. And this is where Tanuki-san comes in. This kanji, ri, referred to medium-sized mammals in Chinese, like wildcats. But wildcats in Japan only lived in very limited areas. The medium-sized mammals that all Japanese people saw in the wild were kitsune-san and tanuki-san. So it seems like this kanji was used for tanuki so often that it became exclusively used for tanuki in Japanese. So ancient Japanese people saw this kanji combination, which in Chinese mean fox, and thought, Tanuki-san plays pranks on us too! So eventually, Japanese people categorized all unexplainable misfortunes into 3 or 4 categories. Extremely serious problems where people die. Oni. Less serious problems that don't involve death, like getting lost in the woods or passing out and getting up in the middle of nowhere. You got pranked by a kitsune-san. And unexplainable events that didn't harm you much. Tanuki-san. The Japanese people couldn't come up with solutions to their problems, so they felt better by blaming these creatures. Fast forward 1,000 years and we have the Ghibli film Popcorn. If you come to Japan in spring, you might see swallow nests at train stations with babies waiting for the parents to bring them food with their beaks shaped like horizontal lines. And the station staff protect their nests with everything they've got. There is history and drama behind this phenomenon. Swallows, or tsubame in Japanese, have cohabitated with the Japanese people for centuries. Especially when 80% of the population were farmers in pre-modern Japan, they ate pests that preyed on livestock. Plus, they're cute. Stand between them and all harm! When they built their nests under the eaves of people's homes, crows and hawks didn't come near, and they remember that for generations. And when they built a nest above a ticket gate, we don't use that ticket gate! Their chicks grow out of their nest in about 3 weeks, so it's no big deal. They gather into a flock of thousands and live outside the city until they fly south in autumn. Now these swallows will come back next spring, and the first thing they do is a cutthroat apartment hunt. They reuse any reusable nests, and these nests at train stations are prime real estate, because people are going back and forth constantly and predators would never come in, and they protect their nests. So every year, swallows seem to come back a bit earlier because these apartments go fast. If they come back too late, they have to make a new nest on their own, and in that case, choosing the right place is crucial. Honey, do you think the eaves of that human house would work?
I don't see any cats around. The swamp's relatively close, so the hunting commute wouldn't be too bad.
Look, dear.
Yes, honey?
The owner of the house. He's carrying a camera with a gigantic lens, and he's wearing Montbell!
It's a bird watcher's house.
That family ain't gonna take her nest down. We got nest there! Okay, so we're all gonna be nice to swallows next spring. Promise me, okay? 1, 2, 3, peek!